What is going on, everybody out there in Badger Nation? Let's get ready to learn about some Amazon PPC. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Steven. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? And I think last week, Michael, we were just talking about how you were in Barcelona and doing some traveling, doing some business work. And I'm wondering, where are you now? Are you still in Barcelona? Have you moved on?
So if anyone's watching this on YouTube, you can see that I'm in some kind of dark cubbyhole. I'm still in Barcelona.
So, Mike, where are you going to be tomorrow and next week? Just because I think that's kind of interesting.
My wife's agency, she runs a PPC shop that we share an office in Austin, Search Scientists. They have their team retreat in Portugal tomorrow, which is part of the reason why it brought me out here to Europe to help, be a part of the team retreat. So I'm really excited about it, hang out with those PPCers over there.
That's awesome. And then next week you will be in?
I'm giving a talk about PPC automation in Prague, Czech Republic.
That's impressive. You're acting like you're way too humble about that. Like you don't want to talk about that, but that's super cool.
So let's jump into what we're talking about today. We're going to be talking about setting realistic expectations for PPC. With Amazon PPC, there's so much buzz about it right now. And it's really funny. It's just really interesting watching that evolution, watching people go from, hey, nobody gave, two thoughts about Amazon advertising, 7 years ago when I first started doing it as a service. And then today, there's such a gigantic surge of excitement, energy, interest, everything about Amazon PPC. And with that comes a lot of content that says things like, how I get a 1% ACOS, how I quadrupled my sales, and how I did all these crazy things so fast. So I'd like to believe that it has peaked and it's sort of getting more sober. It's getting more sort of practical. It's getting more realistic, getting more based on real stories of real practitioners actually doing Amazon marketing, as opposed to maybe people just overhyping it. So I'd like to think those days are behind us, but that's what we're going to talk about today. Setting realistic expectations. What can you expect within 30 days, like a good 30 days, jammed in, logged in on your Amazon ads account?
Yeah, and I think this is just such an important topic for everybody from all different aspects of Amazon advertising. Like if you are, if you're an ad manager at some massive Amazon consultancy agency thing, this episode is going to be about how do you manage the expectations from your clients. If you are just a solopreneur, this is about how do you manage your personal expectations, and how do you also deal with all the people who are trying to sell you on either their content or their platforms or their agencies, whatever. Because there's so much clickbait out there that's just how I got a 1% ACOS in 3 days, or how I doubled my revenue in 3 days, or how I cut my ad spend in half in
What about
1
this
day.
one? How my VA, who doesn't even speak English, quadrupled my profits on Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's so much of that out there. And Mike, I know one thing that you've been really, adamant about is making sure Ad Badger never becomes that way, which I think is really cool. We don't try to sell people on the how to quadruple your conversion rates with this one simple trick or whatever like that. So, we try to be as down to earth, I guess, as possible.
Yeah. You know what it is? I feel like there's so much, I think it's called survivorship bias, where, one person finds one extraordinary result and then doesn't really understand why they got that result. And they'd sort of turn around and be like, oh, it's because I did these things.
It's that one factor. Yeah.
Right. It's like, oh, Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of college, became who he is today. It's like, I should drop out of college, therefore. Right. It's like, well,
the causation fallacy, I think is what they call it.
Yeah. So regardless if you're a company owner, you work at a large brand, or you are doing Amazon marketing as a service, people are going to ask you, and you're going to have to think about, what should I expect over the next 30 days of my ad account? That is what we're getting into today. So let's jump into the main segment. So it's really interesting when you think about what can I expect in the next 30 days? In order to look into the future, you need to learn from the past. We got to talk about the account's history. And there's a lot to consider here. Is the Amazon brand, is the product, is the company on an upward trend or downward trend? And this plays a huge factor into what you could expect in the next 30 days. I mean, Stephen, we see all kinds of products. We see everyone from super large brands spending $500,000 a month to, first-time solopreneurs who are spending their first $100 a month on their Amazon ads with no reviews. So we see everything. And I'd love to hear your sort of perspective about, what kinds of trends do you see when people first come to you and say, hey, Stephen, can you lend me your experience? Can you share some thoughts about my campaigns? What are the things that you look for and sort of try to categorize those?
Yeah, so we as a company, we don't see ourselves as an agency, meaning we don't really do a lot of hands-on managed services. We are a software company primarily, although we sometimes take on a few clients as like a managed service thing, just kind of on a exceptional basis. But we get like hundreds of customers just writing into our customer support channel, like asking questions about what's going on with their ad campaigns. And so we get a lot of exposure to just what people are thinking about as far as Amazon advertising as far as that goes. And one of the biggest things that people basically write in asking or are expecting, our app to do is basically to get them a ton of sales extremely quickly at an extremely affordable ACoS. So they're basically just looking for, I just want a ton of sales fast, and I want my ad spend to be super cheap. And they kind of expect it that as soon as you flip this switch on this app, that's just going to happen pretty much instantaneously.
Right. So when it comes to the sort of the history of an account, I think it's either one of three recent histories. One, it's completely brand new, meaning you have not yet established product market fit. You don't know that when you place an ad in front of people, if they will resonate with it. So what are your thoughts on trying to set expectations for a completely brand new product? Can you even set expectations for a completely brand new company, brand new product?
Yeah, that's I think probably one of the biggest questions that we get is someone is doing a brand new product. I think just like new product launches are probably one of the biggest conundrums for Amazon sellers, because they're just wondering, how do I get sales quickly? And I think that's probably the biggest condition under which someone would want all three of those things that we just talked about, a ton of sales very quickly at a profitable, ACoS.
Right.
So when those people write in, the very first thing I do is I tell them, you've got to manage your expectations. And if you don't have at least 15 reviews, which is Amazon's recommendation, with at least, 4-star average ratings, you can't really expect to get a super, profitable ACoS, because
Right
conversion rates are just going to be so low. I'm pretty sure that star rating...
It'll never be that hard.
Yeah, exactly. And star rating and number of reviews for sure goes into Amazon's algorithmic, ranking system. So without that boost to your organic rank and your ad rank, your CPCs are just going to naturally be higher because you've got to pay more to be in those top spots. And with a lower conversion rate, that it's your cost per click times your conversion rates. That's really a matter of your overall ACoS. So
that's right.
Without the reviews, it's tough.
Yeah, with a brand new product, your first milestone, the first mile marker that you're trying to get to is this product viable? When it's served amongst your competitors, do people prefer it? And I think that's a really heavy question to ask, when somebody's first starting out on their Amazon marketing PPC journey, but it is the first question to ask. Not every product is going to be a slam dunk right from the get-go. So, some will, unfortunately never make it. Some need more time to sort of learn and massage the product title and the images and the star rating and all these different things. So it's important to remember the first milestone that you're trying to get to is this product viable? So after we have that history, we're then in either one of two situations. Is this product and is this campaign on an upward trend or downward trend? And we've seen plenty of both, trying to amplify, sort of trying to pour gasoline on the fire, or are we trying to stop the boulder from coming down the hill and turn that around and start pushing it back up the hill? Talk to us a little bit about, taking over an account that's on an upward trend.
Yeah, I think just understanding the niche that you're in and the competition that you're going up against is so important just before even determining what product you're going to be selling. Because I've seen some accounts where they sell products that they're selling for hundreds of dollars a unit. And yet the CPCs on those products are under $1. I mean, like we're talking about 50-cent CPCs because the competition's so low. One of those, well, I probably shouldn't say it because that would probably bring more competition to this niche for our customer. But you have those kinds of niches, and there are other situations where, so like that would be an example of an account that's on an upward trend because they're getting more traction. They basically have total dominance over the marketplace because, like, for example, I'm pretty sure they're the only ones running sponsored brand ads because it's such an obscure niche that they're in. And they are, and by the way, if anyone's picked up on it, I think I've switched back and forth between calling it niche and niche. I don't have a preference. I switch back and forth all the time. But they're sponsored brand ads. I mean, sponsored brand ads, you're getting 4 times the amount of real estate. That should be 4 times as expensive. And yet those are the ads that are like 50 cents.
Right.
So, and I don't think, and they're winning like the majority of the impressions for sure. So like they're winning like the search engine market share. They just don't have competition. So that's huge. But then on the other hand, as far as a downward trend goes, I've seen accounts that are selling something like, just for example, let's say like Ziploc bags. And that's like, you're competing with Ziploc, that's like trying to sell like Kleenex tissues and you're competing with Kleenex. People are typing into the search bar Kleenex, and the only thing that you're going to, maybe you've got enough solid reviews and a low enough price that you can like win out. But like, I don't know, it's so complicated because if you go too low, people are just going to think that your product's garbage. And so, I mean, I think just understanding that is probably like, and the trends that are going on in your marketplace are just so important for setting realistic goals and expectations for your account overall.
And I think, we were talking about this just the other day on how it's almost like a scale of 1 to 10. It's almost like a Richter scale where the bigger the number, the more effort it takes to go from a 7 to an 8, where basically at a 1 is an intense downward trend, meaning if you don't touch that campaign, it will fall in half without even doing anything. And then all the way on the 10 side, this is somebody on a super upward trend that if you don't even touch the campaigns, it'll double within the next 30 days without even trying. Market conditions, weak competition, really easy CPCs, where, there's definitely campaigns out there in particular markets where they have bad campaign setup. The person managing the campaigns doesn't really know what they're doing, but the campaign seems to be totally fine just because it's sort of soft competition and sort of the right product at the right time. So it's always interesting to sort of first gauge where the company is at. And I think, the first thing is, as sort of any marketer or any business owner, freelancer, marketer, brand manager, we sort of need to realize that, we're on that scale somewhere, meaning we might be at a 10 and we're riding high. We have lots of momentum. We have lots of inertia. We sort of can't lose at a 10, or we're at a 1 where we're sort of fighting for our lives, where CPCs are getting more expensive, but our conversion rates aren't going up. So it's getting more and more difficult for us. So I think the first thing when setting expectations is really try to take a hard look at where you actually are, not where you would like to be. So I think it's really important to first assess, are we moving up or are we moving down? What is the direction of the water? Are we fighting upstream, or do we have this really good stream carrying us down to where we want to go? So I think those are important to think about. And the way I like to sort of think about it is, in your first 30 days, you can move one number. You can move from a 5 where, hey, maybe things are stable and you can make them a little bit better to a 6. Maybe things are at a 9 and you can make it a 10. Maybe things are a 1 and you can make it a 2, if that makes sense. And I know this is kind of heady and kind of interesting to think about, but that's really what we're trying to work with. We're trying to basically take the momentum and either turn it around or amplify it. So what can you actually move in 30 days? And this brings us to the PPC Triangle, which is really what it's all about. And once you understand the PPC Triangle and how it works, you can really get a strong grip of what to expect in your first 30 days of really getting serious about PPC optimization. Stephen, walk us through what the 3 parts of the PPC Triangle are and how they play together.
Yeah, and before we kind of dive into that, I just want to give a little background to, the psychology, the principles of how a triangle works. I first got exposed to the triangle when I was in college, where someone said that there's 3 sides of this triangle. You can only choose 2 at any given time. So for college, you can either have sleep, good grades, or a social life. And basically,
Yes.
you can't have all 3. It's kind of like that you can't have your cake and eat it too. So for me,
Stephen,
I chose.
when you were talking
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. When you were talking about triangles, I thought you were about to say that you were in the Illuminati.
Oh no. I applied, but they didn't let me in. So, but yeah, it's the principle that of the best 3 things that you'd want, you can only ever have at most 2 of those 3 things. So for Amazon advertising and really for all PPC in general, the 3 sides are you can have total sales volume, you could have efficiency of your ad spend or a really good ACOS, or you could have speed. So basically, if you were to put those 2, or take any two of the sides of that triangle and put them together, you'd see that you could either get a ton of sales super quickly, or you could get a very efficient ad spend, your ACOS, extremely quickly, or you could get both a really good sales volume and efficiency of ad spend, but you might be in the long race at that point and have to take a little bit more time before you actually reach that goal.
And that's right. Speed, sales volume, or efficiency, these are the things that you get to tap into, and you can really only pick 2. And, if you had to put let's take a tangible example and maybe try to put some approximations on it. So let's say we had an account that was spending $1,000 and was generating $10,000 of revenue. So they had a 10% ACOS. They come to you and they say, hey, I'm currently spending $1,000, I'm doing $10,000 of revenue. So I'm at a 10% ACOS. What can I expect in the first 30 days of that account? What kind of information do you need to know first in order to try to set a reasonable expectation there? What kind of conversation do you have to have?
Yeah, and for me, when it comes to talking about those goals, I always like to ask folks, what is your primary objective? Is it to increase sales? Because if you want to do that, one of the fastest ways to do that is to just increase your bids. That's going to get you more impressions on those auto campaigns, phrase and broad match keywords, as well as boosting your ad rank just in general across the board. But if your primary goal is to just get to efficiency of ad spend, for example, I saw an account the other day that had a keyword that they were targeting, and the keyword was this. It was set of, and that was it.
Whoa.
And it was a broad match keyword, and it had hundreds of dollars of ad spend on that thing, and just one single conversion out of like hundreds and hundreds of clicks. It had one
Whoa.
conversion. So on the one hand, if you were to, let's just say, archive that keyword or at least put it at like a 1 cent bid, you're going to lose that one conversion that you would have had if you kept the keyword. But you're cutting out hundreds of dollars of ad spend. So that's a bit of an extreme example. But that's just kind of goes to show how, like, when you drop your bids or when you basically like try to trim the fat from your accounts, you're going to lose a couple of sales here and there because that's just part of the nature of it. And it's not that like the keywords you were targeting were relevant. It's just that they were converting coincidentally, you know? So I always like to make that clear to folks, because it's like, hey, we can get your ad spend to where it wants to, or sorry, your ACOS to where it wants to be. Like we can easily drop you from 80% ACOS to
trim the fat.
Yeah, 40 to 50% ACOS, but you might take a dip in your total sales in the process.
Right.
So that's one of the things you've got to think through about what's most important to you.
Right. So it's easy to walk up to that person who's spending $1,000, generating $10,000 of revenue, 10% ACOS. It would be relatively easy to go to them and be like, well, you know what? I'll trim the worst $300 from your account, and then all of a sudden you'll be spending $700 and you'll be generating that $10,000, and now you're at a 7% ACOS. And all you had to do was go in and pause a few things or give things 20-cent bids to really reduce the spend on those, and then boom, you have moved, what you wanted pretty fast. So speed and efficiency of spend, but because you did it quickly, but you're going to be struggling with sales volume. So then in another situation, let's say we have, same sort of numbers and conditions, somebody spending $1,000, generating $10,000 of revenue, and they say, I want more sales. I want to sort of move my total volume moving, and I want a good ACOS. That's a very different conversation to have, because if you were to look at that campaign and say, okay, great, well, I'm looking at it, you're not running product targets and you're not running category targets, and we're not getting aggressive with competitor keywords or sort of generic keywords. We've got a lot of opportunity here to sort of grow and expand the account. And hey, maybe you're not even running auto campaigns on a lot of your products. You can take a look at that and say, well, you're getting 10% ACOS right now, you're generating $10,000 of revenue. I can see a way within the next 30 days to launch all of these new campaigns for you. It's going to be, good. We're going to expand. We're going to get so many new customers rolling into our products. That's going to be great. But guess what? If you launch 10 new keywords, you may have 5 of them be winners right off the bat. Boom, terrific, great ACOS, great revenue right off the bat. And then you may have 5 that are total duds that will just drive up the ACOS. So in that first 30-day window, sure, you'll get more sales, but you are going to be taking an ACOS hit. So your ACOS will be going up just because you're sort of exploring new things. And again, the cycle that you want to follow, it's sort of like a sine wave. So in that first 30 days, boom, increase in revenue, increase in ACOS, because you tested a whole bunch of things, you're exploring, you're trying new things, but then your ACOS goes up, but your revenue goes up. So then what do we do next? Well, then we go in and we trim the fat. Boom. Now we brought it back down. We brought maybe the revenue down a little bit, but we improved the ACOS. And then you sort of repeat 10 new keywords to test. And again, it doesn't need to be keywords. It could be campaign types or different ad types or different combinations or whatever it might be. The point is you sort of try to expand it. You try to get more volume, which generally increases the ACOS, because it's hard to predict what the new ACOS of untested keywords and impressions will be. And then you optimize it down and make the ACOS better. And then you expand it, try new things, and then you optimize it down. So that's generally the cycle that happens every sort of 30-day time frame.
Yeah, it's definitely about that kind of expand your reach and then cut back and optimize cycle. By the way, Mike, do you remember the app, the iPhone app game titled Doodle Jump?
Did you ever play that game? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was kind of popular for a time being, but it's like it's this little
playing
character.
Right
now? As we're recording, as I'm playing Doodle Jump. It's a little cartoon character. He jumps on a trampoline and he jumps up, and then you're constantly going up your phone screen as he's hitting the next trampoline. Anyways, weird analogy, but I was just thinking it's that kind of idea where it's you go up 2, 3, 4 steps, and then you come back 1 or 2,
mm-hmm.
and then you jump forward 3 or 4 steps, and you come back 1 or 2, and that's kind of the idea behind ad management. It's you increase your total sales, but your ACOS goes up with it, and then you cut back and you get that efficiency of ad spend, and then you might lose a couple sales with it. If you want to get both sales and efficiency of ad spend all at the same time, you could totally do that. I mean, you could give us the login to your account. We could jump on in and make optimizations so that, by tomorrow and from then on, you're hitting your target ACOS. However, you might lose so much visibility that in order to get that sales volume, it's just going to take time.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take because all of your products are going to have a much better ad quality score a year from now when they get more reviews, have just more history on them. Amazon's going to rank them better. They're going to have better conversion rates. That'll happen. It's just going to take time. So it all just comes back to, what would you rather have?
And that sort of expansion optimization is the crux of this episode. It's sort of saying, where are we trending first? Are things are we sort of moving at warp speed, or are we stuck in the mud? I think that's the first thing to consider, because that really dictates, how many sales you can gain from an expansion strategy, and then how improved your ACoS can be with an optimization strategy. Then the next thing is, then we need to sort of look at that PPC triangle of speed, sales volume, and efficiency of spend. And then we need to sort of ask ourselves, what are the immediate goals here? Are we trying to scale total sales volume? If so, expect a hit in ACoS. Or are we trying to improve the ACoS? Well, then it may be possible that you may lose out on some visibility and some sales from that as you make decisions and say, hey, this $1,000 of spend I was getting at 75% ACoS, I'd rather take $500 of sales at a 30% ACoS. And Steven, those are the expectations for PPC campaigns.
Yeah, I hope that's just really helpful for you guys. Whether you are a solopreneur who's launching your brand new product and you're just trying to wonder, how should you set realistic expectations for yourself, or if you are an agency partner and you're wondering, how do you manage the expectations of your clients? I think just thinking through that triangle of, the Amazon PPC, just really helpful to think through that speed, sales volume, efficiency of ad spend. Just another way you could phrase that is traffic, conversions, or economics. You got to choose the two of the three.
Mm-hmm. And clients like it when because clients might come to you and they may say, hey, I want to increase my revenue and I want a better ACoS all in the first month, go. And, I think clients appreciate it when you tell them, well, actually, this is how it works. We're going to expand it, then we're going to optimize it, or we're going to start with an optimization round and then expand it. And that is the PPC Den this week. Have a great one, everyone. You can get all of our episodes at adbadger.com/podcast.